You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
The podcast that I started in like 2017, at the beginning of 17, is about creative real estate, creativity within real estate, a lot of things about apartments and what we were doing. And so that one has always been, and actually that podcast still is about the same thing.
On today's episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast, I have Adam A. Adams, the AAA of real estate investing as well as podcasting. Now, I am your host, Phil Better. This is Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am so excited to have Mr. AAA himself on the show so he can tell us some of the secrets to jumping into real estate investing, but also how he's now pivoting into the podcasting world, similar to what I'm doing. So without further ado, let's hear it from Mr. AAA himself.
So it's a very simple podcast. I ask you, pretty much you tell your story about how you became a digital entrepreneur, how you went from, because you were in real estate and then you transitioned to teaching people more about real estate, correct?
Yeah. And also, just so you know, we've done a few other things also. I've helped people get virtual assistants, and we actually have a podcast service, which is why I'm probably so we
Epic.
have a podcast service too, where we help people launch, we help people, we do the post-production, or we'll help them just with marketing, because a lot of people don't get a lot of downloads. Mm-hmm. I help people with real estate. I have a mastermind. We do those podcast services, and it's kind of on the side, but we can help people with virtual assistants too. But happy to answer any questions on any of those things. But I want to make sure that you knew it wasn't only real estate.
No, it's even better now. That's even better, because now I have more things to talk to you about, and it's not just a one-sided, one-dimensional. You have the real estate where you started and you began your career, right?
Yeah.
You began there, and then you transitioned into doing podcasts and radio and that, and teaching people about that, about real estate, I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, well, I'm doing this and people are asking me about podcasting. So you spun out a podcasting creation company out of that. And
close enough. I will tell you, it's honestly because I just didn't think anyone was supporting podcasters at a very high level. And I did it because I wanted to solve that for people. And I just started by helping a few friends, and then it just kind of grew. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm already doing this, I may as well get paid to do it. It was like, nobody out there is worth a darn. I gotta like find a way to help some of my friends who are really struggling. So that's kind of how.
I love that, because that just brings more people to you, because the more people you help, they're going to just spread the positivity about your great work. And that's just going to keep growing like you did with your real estate. Like you had one great customer and they told you, probably told 5 friends, like, oh, you have to talk to Adam, he's the best. And then that brought you more referrals and just your continued greatness to bring the best value to your client or to your friend is how you probably grew. You're going to grow every single part of your business.
Yeah.
So before we continue down and get more into it, I do want to just give you a chance to introduce yourself.
Sure.
So I'm going to give you like 30 seconds, give the Spaceball pitch,
Okay.
and go right ahead.
Okay. So right now.
Yeah, right now.
All right.
Not
Hi,
20
my
seconds
name's-
ago, now.
My name is Adam Adams, and I am originally from Utah. Now I live in Colorado. I've been doing a few things for the last few years. I support my family. I enjoy playing with my kids. I love mountain biking, and it's epic. It's so fun. But for business, the main things that I focus on right now is investing in real estate and growing that portfolio, and then supporting other podcasters to be able to help them to grow as podcasters, to be able to get more listeners and downloads.
There we go. That's great, because I know I have actually two types of listeners right now. I have entrepreneurs who are looking to grow their business and looking to investing other things like in stocks. I had a gentleman who built his portfolio of stocks, only 35 years old, and he's already a millionaire. It's insane, just from stocks. And you with your real estate, but also you have this other service. You're saying, look, I'm not just one facet, I am this multifaceted business person. And so it's also showing, hey, podcasters, look, you can take your tools that you learn and you can make money off it to become an entrepreneur. So I love that fact that you're bringing two of these amazing assets to the table into this interview.
Well, thank you for having me, Phil. I'm excited.
So like we said just a little earlier, you started your career in the real estate. What specifically about real estate what drove you into the real estate world to start?
The thing that drove me into real estate is 100% my stepdad.
Okay.
Growing up with him, he was just an incredible guy, and I was grateful to have someone like him. But he really wanted to teach me how to be self-sufficient, how to not have to work for money, and he makes a great living as a landscaper. But he also has always been really smart to put his money in somewhere where it can kind of work for him, because he works hard outside in the hot sun. And that's really what he used to teach me. Is he's like, Adam, it doesn't matter. You might become a quadriplegic. You might actually lose brain function. You might die and your family could be there. Like, there's so much that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
He just said, you need to be starting to pay yourself first right now, when I was like very, very young. And I didn't listen to him really well, to be honest. But around the time that I was in university, during college, he goes, Adam, I'm just going to give you this gift of a piece of land so you can finally own a piece of America. And so that happened. He was such a good, supportive stepdad. And so he gives me this piece of land, and then his CPA is like, you can't just give your kid that. You're going to pay so much in taxes. So he's like, Adam, I'm really sorry, but now you have to pay for it. And so I didn't want to lose the property.
Yeah.
So I paid for it. And that was my first time ever being involved in real estate. When I sold it, I started doing more like rental things, like so that I could get paid every month and kind of grow my passive income.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the short story of how I really got into real estate investing.
That's amazing that it was your stepdad that came in. He's like, look, you taught you young, like pay yourself first. And it took him actually being like, wait, no, I'm going to take this away from you because I don't want to pay, where you realize, no, I like this. Give me this back, So it's really great that happened. And from there, you started doing masterminds regarding real estate deals.
Yeah, but that was like a long time after. So I started investing in 2005.
Okay.
And then that was like in real estate. But then I realized that multifamily real estate was kind of like the smartest way to go.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2007, I started managing a lot of multifamily, 23 different units and everything. Just started managing it to get a feel for it and understand it so I could do it on my own. In 2008, during the crash, of course.
That's when everybody,
I bought my first apartment community in 2008, and learned the ropes there. And over time, my real estate was more of like a part-time thing. So I had a handyman company where it was me and 13 employees that were helping people. That was how I made my now money. But real estate investing was a big thing, and it wasn't not until 2016, actually. So 2015, I was making more money in real estate than I was making at my job. But for the first time in my life, the second time, there was one other time in college where I sold a piece of land and I made more than a whole year's worth of income I was a bartender putting me through school. So yeah, I made more than that in this one transaction. But just fast forward in 2015, I'm like doubling my money every transaction. I'm like doubling it. And so I finally just said F you to my boss, and I quit. I was managing large commercial construction at the time, and I quit, and I said I am going to focus on just real estate. And, there's pros and cons. So I'll just be honest with your listener. In 2016, it was really rough without having a W-2 income to qualify for things. Even though I doubled my money a few times, it doesn't always double. So there are some risks involved. And so I struggled in 2016. I struggled in 2017, and we started doing awesome in 2018. I started doing in 17, started doing like larger apartment communities. And it was during 18, I had this meetup group, right? It's like people would come into our meetup, and we would connect with them. And that's how we got a lot of our deals. And that's how we got a lot of our passive investors, like people saying, I don't want to do all the work. Like, can you just take my money and me make a profit off of what you're already doing? And so that's really how it started. 2018, we started crushing it. And that's when I finally had people coming to me and saying, teach me how. So in like 2018, I started bringing on some clients. 2019, I brought on a lot more clients and founded a mastermind. And 2020, that mastermind grew, and we did even better in the business. Well, there's pros and cons in 2020 because of COVID. So we stopped doing what we call distributions on the rentals that we owned. We started just leaving the money in. So we did less of those distributions. And so I know this is probably a long story, but that's kind of how I ended up going deeper into the podcasting and helping other podcasters. So I had a podcast since 2017, I think. And everybody was like, everybody else was trying to start a podcast in 2020. And so they keep coming up to me and they're like, how do I do it? And I helped a few friends, and they all crushed it. Like all of a sudden we launched their podcast, and they're like top 1% in the world. And other people are like, hey, let me do that. And so I said, I got to start charging for this. So yeah, we've got about, just as we're recording, it's still a newish company, right? We got about 18 clients right now, and more than half of them are ranking 5 times better than just the top 1% in the world. They're ranked off the charts. They're getting tons of downloads, and it's been so rewarding for me to finally find a way to like systemize the thing, to give it to new people that are brand new and starting out. But that kind of pulls us full circle, I think, with everything. And so you kind of can see where I am.
That's like, for me, that's inspiring. Oh. You can't hear me?
Mic check.
Can you hear me now?
It's super quiet. Something happened.
What about now? You can hear me now, but it's not that good.
Correct. Should we just try it with the mic that's working, even though it echoes? It started out sounding pretty good.
Really sorry about that.
It's fine. It's
my
it's
mix,
all good.
an old mixer, so I'm gonna have to upgrade that. No, I get the Rodecaster Pro, so that's at least a good thing there.
Perfect.
Positivity here. So yeah, no, it really interests me because even with this podcast, because this is the second podcast I'm doing, I had an entertainment one that was good, but it caused so much work. And so now that I started this new one, this podcast learning about entrepreneurs who have made it in the digital world, because I want to make it as an entrepreneur. I've had people come and ask me, hey, can you help me grow my podcast or make a podcast? So I'm like, yeah, so now I'm learning how to systemize the whole process so that it's easy to copy and paste for other people, and one day hopefully I get a big clientele like yourself. But I'm having more fun talking to people. This is the part of podcasting I like. I like talking to people and learning about them. And right now I feel really horrible that I have a horrible mic that's not working.
It's all good. It started out sounding awesome, but no biggie. No biggie.
So your podcast is it always been on real estate development and real estate management?
The podcast that I started in like 2017, at the beginning of 17, is about creative real estate, creativity within real estate, a lot of things about apartments and what we were doing. And so that one has always been, and actually that podcast still is about the same thing. The interesting thing is that I actually sold the podcast because I was thinking to myself that creative real estate really doesn't pull that many people into apartments. And so because what some of the things that I was doing is I was helping people with my mastermind group to be able to be better at what they're doing, within raising money, attracting capital for big syndications. And so there was that. And then I also knew that my other avatar, if you call it an avatar as well, my thought on an avatar is your perfect client. My other avatar is a passive investor, right? Somebody who wants to put millions of dollars or even just hundreds of thousands of dollars into the deals that we're doing so that they can get a return. Mm-hmm. And so on that podcast, I was thinking to myself, if I had a ton of money, would I be scrolling through iTunes and if I saw something that said creative real estate, would I be like, ooh, that's perfect for me? I got lots of money. I need to figure out creativity. No, but if you're trying to get involved in real estate for the first time, maybe you have a lack of capital. You're going to be like, oh, creative real estate, I need that. And so I think I was really just attracting the wrong people. I was attracting really new people that wanted to just barely get into real estate. And I was probably attracting people that didn't have the capital yet to be able to be a passive investor. And I thought, I just got to change this. But I had a good listenership on my show. So what I did is I reached out to some people and I just said, would you want to buy this? Would you want to buy this show? I knew I could rebrand it and keep all of the benefits, but I thought if I started it over, I would get even more benefits. So I asked, and I had one that was like around $7,000, and then one that was 50, and then one was like 50 something. I don't remember, but then my highest offer was for $60,000. So I went ahead and sold that podcast, and I wanted, and I'm launching 2 new podcasts right now. In fact, I'm almost certain that by the time this episode airs, they're already out, so we can just talk about them anyway. But just so you know, currently I'm barely launching them, and actually there's 2 of them. One is called The Apartment Investing Show.
Yeah, I was just noticing over your shoulder that is genius. I was going to be like, okay, so when I asked, and you're like, well, I started this one and then I sold it. I'm like, oh, very nice segue into your new show. But I didn't think you had 2 shows. I only knew you had one because of the branding you got there. I love that.
And then I'm also launching, I have the gall to launch the podcast on podcasting, sponsored by growyourshow.com. So it's going to be the podcast on podcasting. I've already been interviewing every single week. I have tons of content ready to go. It's going to be the podcast on podcasting. Phil, I'd love to have you on my show, the podcast on podcasting, talking about your ups, your downs, 100%. What you've learned, and all that kind of stuff, because I'm really doing half of my interviews where I interview somebody to get their experience, and the other half is short episodes where it's just me just giving 5 minutes of heavy value. So I'm so excited, and as you know, I have a company that does that for other people, launching, editing, all that kind of stuff. So it really helps to pull in my avatar, pull in people, give value to podcasters, and then if they decide, hey, why don't I just have Adam do the post-production, or my show's not big enough, why don't I hire Adam for a little bit so that I can kind of boost it up, maybe get in the top 1% instead of just having crickets. So I'm stoked. I got 2 podcasts launching right now.
Oh, that's amazing. And I'm looking forward to because I do have plans to bring back the Phil Better show, because I do have a passion for watching movies, and that's like part of my entrepreneur. I love the creativity, and watching movies really helps open up the creativity. So I love talking about movies with that. So I'm going to be relaunching it with everything I've learned from the last 2 months of redoing my podcasting with this show. So I love that you have the gall to do 2 podcasts, let alone the podcast on podcasting, But as you mentioned that, I actually have a former guest who is trying to make a hit podcast by doing it independently.
Oh, nice.
So I'm definitely going to put you in contact with him, because I'm sure he's going to add so much value to your guest, because right now he's doing Facebook ads for podcasts. He's attempting to see if advertising works.
Awesome. Perfect. We definitely put me in touch. We've tried all sorts of things, Facebook ads. I like this really random one that we could never really get in enough of the information to really add value to the listener. So I apologize for even bringing it up, but we do this private messaging campaign. It's long and it's long form, but what's kind of cool is we do it for as a third party. And so what we might be doing, let's just take your old podcast, Feel Better podcast about movies, right? Feel Better show. And so let's just pretend that that's what we're doing. So we might go into 2 places. We might start on LinkedIn, and we might go see anyone who's in the movie industry and everything like that. Uh-huh. And then we might start by, what we do is to scrape the data. Don't ask me how, because I don't even know how legal it is, but we scrape the data on LinkedIn, and then we do reverse engineer, getting their information. I'm trying to remember the term for it. It's anyway, the point is we get their phone number.
You clean the list. You clean the list and all that.
Yeah, so we get all that
information.
And then what we'll end up doing is adding them on LinkedIn, and then we add them on Facebook too. And we send them a private message on LinkedIn that says, hey, I saw that you were huge into the movie industry. That's awesome. Do you recommend any podcasts in that industry? I'm looking to know more podcasts that might be out there. And then we reach out to them on Facebook, and we'll private message them, and we'll add them, and we'll say, hey, I don't know if you saw my message on LinkedIn, but I really wanted to get a hold of you. Reach out to me as soon as you can. Okay. Something like that. That's the first thing. And then we go back and we ask them, do you have any recommendations for YouTube channels or podcasts that I should be watching or listening to be able to get more involved into this industry? How did you do this? We just ask them questions. We really want to get to know them as a friend, as a real one-on-one way. And then we reach out to them later, and we just ask them, hey, you don't listen to the Feel Better show, do you? ? I recently came across it and listened to a couple episodes. do you listen to that one? And they'll say, oh, I'm not sure if I heard of the Feel Better show. And then we'll go, oh, well, this one episode is really good. Would you want me to send it to you? ? And then they go and say, I'd love it if you would send it. And so then we forward them the link. By the way, you never, ever, ever give a link on DMs without permission. That is just a no-no. It's too spammy. So we ask for permission. They say yes, and then we give it to them. And then later on, we reach out to them and we say something to the effect of, hey, what did you think of that episode that I shared with you? And then we get their feedback. And then later on, we might say, hey, I bet you anything that Phil, it looks like he's trying to grow his show. I bet you anything he'd be honored if you gave him an honest review about that episode. And we just ask. We say, I just gave him a 5-star review. I think he would love it if you would do it too. And then we follow back up with him. Hey, did you ever leave that guy a rating or anything?
5-star review.
And then a few weeks later, I know this is complicated. I'm not giving you all the pieces yet because it's just too much.
Yeah, no.
But the last thing, another thing that we do is we reach out a couple weeks later and we bring up a different episode and we say something like this. Oh, did you just hear that last episode Phil dropped? That was awesome, right? ? And they're like, oh, no, I didn't hear it. And then we say, oh, it's episode 113. You got to listen. And then they're like, okay, I'll go check it out. So then they go back, and now you're hitting so many algorithms within Apple because we keep pushing them back to your show. They keep downloading more of your show. They give you a rating. They give you a review, and they keep listening after. And it works so well because we're a third party. Anyway, we're trying all sorts of stuff, including Facebook. But my favorite piece is this private messaging campaign.
Yeah, no, companies do it all the time. I see affiliate marketers doing it. They're creating like automation for businesses, for chatbots to help them increase sales. So why shouldn't podcasters do it more on a personal level? Because podcasting is one-on-one. It's a personal thing because you're listening to them. So if someone reaches out or it's more automated, it doesn't feel real. But having a one-on-one person like you doing it, or your business associates or your VAs doing it for you, for your clients, and that's even better because it just grows your network and you can help grow other podcasts because they trust your opinion of podcasts then. Yeah. Freaking.
And I'll say that my favorite part about it, just super duper fast, is like when we do it this way, when we're reaching out to people one-on-one, 75% of the people that download the first podcast this way leave a 5-star rating and a written review. That is like stupid awesome numbers, by the way, for anyone who doesn't. 75% of the people that download it from our private message campaign, they rate it and review it. However, in general, if you have you usually have 1 out of 100 people that are really your listeners that aren't going through this private message campaign that take the time to give a rating and review. So because we're like asking them if they would do it or telling them it would probably mean a lot to the host and they're listening to so many, the probabilities are skyrocketed, like 75 times more likely to rate and review the podcast, which adds a lot of credibility to your show. Like it adds a lot of, I guess, what's the word for it?
It brings authoritativeness to the podcast.
Yeah, because it's got a lot of proof.
It's getting that social proof because with Apple iTunes, you're not only just seeing where it says the ratings in America, you're actually seeing if it's in India, if it's in England or this, because you're getting people from all over the world. Obviously, you want a big following in the U.S. because it is the giant market at the current moment. But that is getting authenticity to show through, and you're not getting like how sometimes some people use bots and that to get it bombed on Amazon or something like that. This, you're getting authenticity because the people are actually taking the time. You're turning those 75% into your 100% hardcore fan.
Yeah. Well, maybe not. I got to be honest. Maybe not all of the 75% of those people become a hardcore fan, but our
Even if 20,
strategies do a lot of benefits for sure.
yeah, even if you turn 25% or even 1% of that 75% into a hardcore fan, over time, that's still great because it can you have these fans that will be diehards for you, will help you grow your podcast when you do a call to action like, hey, make sure you tell a friend or make sure you like us on Facebook. They'll be more likely to do that for you because you've done the personal outreach to them.
I agree 100% with that.
Freaking genius marketing.
It's so fun,
Genius.
Right?
It is.
Love it.
I love it because none of this was around, or I wasn't listening, or I wasn't looking for podcasts like this back when I started the Phil Better Show. But
Same.
also, with Messenger and all that, that wasn't around. That ability to do that, a lot of people were more closed off because they were scared. Like, who's this person scamming me? Because we were scared of the internet, because we grew up being scared of the internet. Now people are very super friendly on the internet. You have the crazies, of course, but they're so more open. Like, I've joined a couple of podcasting groups and I've seen more positivity than what I saw before, like 5 years ago. So the fact that you're making the podcast of podcasting is great because you're bringing the next level of podcasting. It's like the development of the HTML, the websites. The first generation were horrible. And then the second generation, they keep getting better and better. And you're adding to that layer of podcasting because the people who listen to your podcast and they start wanting to make it, they'll start following your formula. And they're going to make it even better because it's a more formulaic, and then they're going to take it to the next level, take what you like and take what this person likes and make it better. And it's genius. I love that.
Awesome. I really appreciate that a lot. And it does seem to be working right now. Anyway, it seems to be working awesome. So,
well, you have case studies showing that like you said, 75% are more likely to leave a positive 5-star review. That just there from just doing, if a regular podcaster reaches out to one fan a day, and communicates with them and asks them, if they do that for 100 days, they'll probably get 75 new reviews, which will help them increase their rating dramatically.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because people like that one-on-one touch, because we've lost some of that thanks to COVID, but also thanks to the internet. There's that lack of that human connection in essence, I think. I come from a sociology and anthropology lens because that's what I studied in university. So I like looking at everything from how does it affect society and how will it going into the future. Yeah. So it's amazing. Oh my God, I love this. I love this.
Sweet.
So I'm going to give you the next 5 minutes. I want you can pitch whatever you want, promote whatever you want. Tell us where we can find your podcasts, where we can find you online. What's the best way to, how do you help us make $1 million?
Sure.
Well,
that's good. I hope I don't need 5 minutes, but yeah,
it's yours if you want it.
Yeah. Well, so, I guess I want to just start by just adding a bit of value to the listener, because for the most part, podcasts are becoming the new business card. So my opinion is now that so many different people are starting podcasts, a lot of people do feel, and rightfully so, that isn't it saturated? They might say, isn't it, blah, 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 blah. So my thought would be just to kind of help the listener to make that decision if having a podcast is right for them. I would start by saying, regardless if it becomes a well-known podcast or not, it is like a business card. It's a better business card because when they find you, they can just go and play your episodes and start to get to know you. That's exactly what happened to me when I was trying to raise private capital for my real estate syndications. And I was just meeting with a potential passive investor. And I said to him, I just let him know, hey, I have got a podcast. And He's like, really? And I grabbed his iPhone and I subscribed to my show. And by the way, when he wasn't looking, I gave myself a 5-star review, of course. And then I handed him I handed it to him and I said, this is my show. Feel free to check it out. And the guy listened to 6D, because that podcast, by the way, has 540 episodes already. And so back then it had like 150. And so he goes, Adam, I've listened to 60 of your episodes. He called me, by the way, 3 months later, like my business card, off my business card. He called me 3 months later. He says, Adam, I listened to 60 of your episodes. I want to invest with you. I want to be partnered with you. I want to go with you. I want to support you. You're the man. Like, maybe I'm not even the man, but like to him, I was the man. And to you, the listener, you're going to be the man or the woman to a certain other person that's perfect for working with you. And so this business card really, really worked. And through that, I've been able to raise millions of dollars. Private capital that I've been able to raise to close on real estate deals. And I'm honestly, the truth is, I'm no different than anyone else. Like, I enjoy marketing a little bit more, but if I didn't do the marketing, I would have somebody market for me, and then we'd be in the same place. I'm just a guy, and I have a podcast, and it became my business card, and it helped me to be able to raise millions of dollars. So regardless of what you're looking to do you want to do real estate? Do you want to do, what mergers and acquisitions? What do you want to do? Do you want to sell more? Maybe you're a lender. Maybe you're a real estate agent. You need to have some type of podcast, not only because it's way popular for you, but also because you're going to be able to resonate exactly with your perfect avatar. They're going to find you there. Maybe you're talking to them and then they go and listen to 60 of your episodes and they call you 3 months later and they say, hey, I've always wanted to buy a rental from somebody. Will you represent me? I like you. And that's what a podcast really does. It allows us to be ourselves and not to be some fake random person that is just an idea of who we want to be. We can be ourselves. And after being vulnerable, or whatever you want to call it, after being ourselves for months at a time and just enjoying, like you said, Phil, you enjoy talking to people. And as you just be you, people that listen to your show are going to want to do business with you. So it doesn't matter if you're helping people with podcasting. It doesn't matter if you're a real estate agent. It doesn't matter if you're a lender or whatever. You're going to find that's the best funnel for you to get in front of the most amount of people. So I just wanted to inspire the listener that they ought to do that. And they need to do it anyway, but also to let them know that if they can do this other thing, it's really going to benefit them a lot. If you can just make sure that when you jump in, that you market the hell. Can I say that word on your podcast? You market the hell out of it.
You can.
You really, really, really push it out. You send it to everybody that you have their emails. You call everybody that you have their phone number. You text everybody. You private message everybody. You put it on your Facebook, everywhere that you can possibly think if you don't have money for marketing and Facebook ads and hiring someone like us. You still got to do all the stuff that you can do, because if you can just do the small thing, which is just hacking into the algorithm of Apple, the iTunes algorithm, if all you do is just hack it by getting lots of your friends and family by calls and emails to jump on that podcast, give you a rating and review in the very beginning, you've already benefited yourself, because you're going to go from having less than 20 listeners at all to being able to get that algorithm so that Apple says, something about this guy, something about this woman. When they launch this podcast, they're getting more traction. They're doing something on their own. Okay, well, I'm Apple. I want to keep putting this in front of more people to see what happens, because they do what's called A/B testing, split testing, basically saying that they're going to put someone else's podcast in front of people or yours in front of people. Now you hack the algorithm by getting lots of volume in the beginning, Now they're going to they're going to start promoting you. You don't have to do as much. That's like with my clients. I have them do all the things I just told you. Plus, I actually take advantage of doing that stuff because we guarantee top 10% or top 1%. We only have 2 launch plans, top 10% or top 1%. So you launch us with a top 10%. If I don't make sure that your podcast gets in the top 10%, I'm going to write you a check literally for $5,000. Because you're in the top 11%, I'll still write you a check for $5,000. Now, top 1%, I'll write you a check for $10,000 if we mess up, if we somehow fall short. If you're just in the top 2%, sorry, you're getting $10,000 because I believe in what we're going to do. So I hope that the listener just says 2 things. Number 1, I need a podcast no matter what. And number 2, when I do it, I need to promote it. Now, maybe I can't pay Adam. Maybe I don't want to pay Adam. Maybe I talk to him, pick his brain a little bit. Maybe I have him on my podcast and get some free advice or whatever, right?
I'm not going to lie. That's what I did right now. What I did.
So for that listener right now who's going to have a podcast and where they're the person that's gaining the value of it, I just want to make sure that regardless of their budget, that they find the best way possible to get in front of the most amount of people in the first few weeks of launching the podcast. Because when you do this, remarkable results will occur. Some of our clients are ranking 5 times higher than the top 1% because we're doing all this stuff. But anyway, okay, so sales pitch, what would I do? I would just say, like, look, if you're serious about doing this, we can do your post-production for you. I could do your marketing for you, or I could just help you with the launch and do all of it for you. And the prices are extremely reasonable. And we have guarantees of writing you a check for $5,000 or $10,000 if we're even just close, but not all the way there. We guarantee a top 10%. We guarantee a top 1%. So I'd say the best way to do this is to go to growyourshow.com. Growyourshow.com. By the way, that was stupid expensive for me to buy that. So go do it. Go to growyourshow.com and see what we can do to help.
My God, there's so much value that you've just provided. I wasn't expecting you to come in and tell exactly the best marketing strategy to grow your podcast. I wasn't going to expect you to tell everybody that they should have a podcast. I was waiting to sell that at the end of this episode. Like when I do the recall, like, look at what he's told you. This is why you need a podcast. You pretty much, I could end the show right here, right now, go invest in yourself, everybody. And that's it. My episode's done. I don't have any more work to do because of the value you just provided with that. It was more than 5 minutes and it was great. It was amazing because you provided a lot more value than I ever thought. And it's true. I did reach out to you, or we reached out together, and I know the value of having you on. I was looking at it from a real estate point of view. I had no idea that you had started this podcasting business on the side. So it's even better. Plus I got an invitation onto your show, which is great because that helps me grow my show. Because if 1% of your guests enjoy me on your show, then they'll listen to my show. And plus I'm putting you in contact with my buddy who's trying to make a hit show. So it's going to be interesting, him going on your show and seeing the growth there. So this is a really value-packed podcast for both of us.
I really appreciate it. And I agree with you 100%. I'm thrilled to spend time with you. Would love to support your listener if that's what they're looking to do. I think we do a great job and can't wait to connect with that one guest. By the way, he's using this amazing coffee mug. I don't know if they can see it, but it's like invest in yourself. And it's beautiful. I love the coffee mug. How do we get you to send that to us? Like, what do we have to pay you?
Merch. Well, this is great because I was actually going to start I have a website called merchbyphilbetter.com. And
well, then I just helped you plug it, and I didn't even know.
I know. Thank you. I gotta
go to merch@philbetter.com, right? I'm going to do it while we're on here.
Merchbyphilbetter.com.
Merch by Phil Better?
It should be up. Better, yeah. It should be up.
Okay. I'm going. Yes, it is up. And invest in yourself collection. Buy now. Awesome. Cool stuff. I love the shirts. And I really love the coffee mug. All right, Phil, I'm sold. It's good stuff.
Awesome. Thank
I'm
you
going to buy
so-
something today.
Awesome. That's amazing. Thank you very much. That is the world for me. If you have any problems, let me know. Adam, thank you for being a guest and bringing so much value to my guests and showing them that they need to invest in themselves by, just like you did, by getting a podcast, putting it in front. It helped you grow and get your perfect avatar, your perfect clientele for your business. And obviously this, having a podcast, hey, if you want one that shows proof, he did it. Go see him. Go growyourshow.com. I bought some for clients before, so it's expensive. Go and he'll help you out. And I'm guaranteed there's hundreds and hundreds of valuable articles and episodes going to be on his
Awesome.
website.
Thank you.
Guys, again, I can't believe I'm getting these quality of guests for you guys to hear about their stories, about what they're doing, and all the amazing stuff going on. If you need anything, make sure you check out his podcast at realbluesspruce.com. That's podcast.realbluesspruce.com. Check out his website, realbluespruce.com/invest. That's INVEST. These are amazing things. I'm on his email list. It's quality stuff. You guys really will enjoy it, so get on it as soon as possible. Again, invest in yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.